All right, guys, so today we're going to be talking about the Glock 20 V series. So if you guys haven't watched the video that we've done previously on the V series, go back and watch that because it's going to explain most of the changes between the Gen 5s and the Vs, which is the Roman numeral for 5, which I find kind of ironic. But go back and watch that, but we're talking about the Glock 20 today. And the reason we're talking about Glock 20s is because of the fact that they are the king of bear protection, in my opinion. You can carry bear spray, you can have your little bear whistles and bear bells on your bags, but when push comes to shove, you're out in grizzly country, I cannot recommend having one of these on you enough. So, where we're up here in Rexburg, Idaho, we live, Tanner, how far do we live from like grizzly country? You can be in areas of grizzlies within 15 minutes of the shop. Yeah. And frankly, they're a problem. We won't go into the politics behind grizzly management, but where we live, the chances of running into a grizzly, encountering grizzlies, while it's not high, it's definitely a lot higher than the average person living anywhere else in the United States. So with that, for instance, one of the places that I grew up close to here, the general rule of thumb was that if you were going outside because of bears, mountain lions, you name it, the general rule of thumb was if you're going outside, you had a gun on you. And the 10 millimeter, in my opinion, is the all-around best option for that, whether it's grizzly, moose, you name it, the stuff that you actually need to be worried about when you're out in the field, whether you're fly fishing, hiking, hunting, the 20 kind of does it all, the 10 millimeter does it all. Now, one of the biggest questions that we get asked all the time here in the shop is why go with a 10 millimeter over, say, a 9 millimeter or a 45 ACP or some of the other caliber options out there, whether it's 357, 44 mag, why go with a 10 over any of the other options on the market? So number one, we're going to compare it to 9 millimeter. It's moving just as fast, if not faster, depending on the load, with a lot heavier of a bullet, and you have a lot of great hard cast options. And with that, on bears, on tough animals, those hard cast rounds are going to be going through thick layers of fat, fur, hair, and penetrating, which is what you need in a defensive scenario like that. You don't want to be running hollow points where essentially they're hitting fur and fat and they're just opening straight up. You want something that's going to go in, that's got speed, and that's got energy, that is going to basically enter the animal and reach the vitals that it needs to reach with velocity still behind it. Then on the flip side of that, you've got like your 357, your 44 mag, which in revolver platforms has been one of the most prolific bear guns for the last 100 years. And the big argument, in my opinion, for whether it's the Glock 20, whether it's the Springfield XD, whether it's the FN510, is going to be the fact that you're getting a lot more capacity in these semi-auto platforms. So instead of 6, 7 rounds like you're getting in a wheel gun, you have 15 rounds of 10 millimeter in a standard capacity magazine if your life is on the line, which at the end of the day, if you're needing to shoot a bear, you want as many rounds as you could get. So like I said, growing up, being in an area that had grizzlies and had other predators to worry about, we carried all the time. And it wasn't until recently that I really started to realize, man, 10 really is a superior cartridge for this type of application, whether you're fishing, hiking, you name it. And the reason being is that you have the capacity and you have the energy behind it. A few years back, when 10 millimeters really started taking off for bear protection, so obviously, I've never shot a bear in self-defense. And when 10 millimeters really started taking off a few years ago as a outdoor defensive platform for bears and other big predators that you needed to worry about, at that time, this is 10 years ago, I didn't really necessarily understand the full reason behind the 10. I didn't know anybody that had used one in a self-defense scenario. I just knew it was faster, it was heavier than 9 millimeter, and you had great terminal ballistics. So it never really hit me how effective the 10 was in a defensive scenario out in the woods until I had a customer come in and say, hey, guess what? You sold me this Glock 20. I saved my life with it yesterday. And it's pretty wild to think this. I've now had 5 or 6 customers that have defended themselves with 10 millimeters against grizzly bear attack. Most of them are hunters or fishermen that are just out doing their normal thing. Bump into a grizzly, they have to use it defensively and it saves their life. On the flip side of that, this was probably about 2 years ago, I had a customer who was just carrying a 1911 and 45 ACP, had to use it on a bear. It did not work that great. They ended up surviving. It wasn't the prettiest scenario, but all the customers that I have that have used 10 mils in defensive scenarios out in the woods have raved after the fact about it worked, it did what I needed it to do, and I was able to dump and put rounds on target as fast as I could because my life was on the line and I've got a charging grizzly coming at me, and the only thing I can think about is getting rounds downrange. So you compare a Glock 20 and 10 millimeters, say a Smith & Wesson 686 Plus that has 7 rounds of capacity in it. This has double the amount of capacity, and the trigger pull on this is so much easier to use than a double action revolver when you need to get rounds downrange. So now that I've kind of made the case for 10 millimeter, let's talk about the Glock 20 V series. This is a Gen 5. There are some internal differences. Like I said, go back and watch the other V series video. It'll explain kind of what those differences are. With this over, say, a Gen 4 or a Gen 3, though, you're getting some big upgrades. Number one, you're getting front serrations up front. You're getting MOS from the factory, no finger grooves like you got on the Gen 4s and Gen 3s. You also get the flared magwell as well, which the more that I run the Glock Gen 5s and Gen 6s with the flared magwell, the more I love how easy it is to change mags quickly, and you don't have a huge magwell hanging off the gun for something that's a carry gun. The other thing that I love about the Glock is while the triggers aren't amazing, they shoot flat and they just run. It's a 10 mil. It's got a lot of oomph behind it, but it tracks just as flat as any other 10 mil out there. And I know that regardless of if it's wet, there's mud on the gun, you name it, it's a Glock. It's going to go bang. So if you've got questions about the Glock 20, drop them in the comments down below. If you're local, come swing into the shop. Let's talk about it. We've got a bunch of different options for 10 millimeters other than just the 20, even though this is my personal favorite. We've got different hard cast ammo available as well. We can kind of go over some of the differences of those with you. But yeah, Glock 20 V series, it's a Gen 5, internal differences. But if I'm going into the woods and my life is on the line, this is what I'm going to be taking with me. And really quick, guys, please like, comment, and subscribe. We are coming up on about 1,000 followers here pretty quick. We'll do something for that. We're working on figuring out what we're going to do. So like I said, please like, comment, subscribe. We appreciate all of your guys' support, and we really enjoy doing these videos. We're just going to keep having more and more fun with it.